Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. With my wife and kids, we run an antique shop in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, filled with some of the most unique items we can find. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc.
From home, honey.
Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode. Well, I am at my store and I'm going to take some opportunities before we open up today to show you some cool finds that have come through in the last couple days. Often you see me going out to people's houses or trying to buy things and loading up my car and not having enough room. Well, today I've had a few collections come in the last couple days, and I wanted to show you the sort of stuff that comes through the store. So first things first, let me show you a really cool guitar that I was happy to pick up just yesterday. Now, those of you watching at home will probably recognize that this is a Fender guitar case. There's gonna be something cool in there. And indeed there is. Inside of this case lies a 1975 Fender Telecaster. Now, when it comes to guitars, if they are vintage, like this one, that's kind of the time frame you want to get them in. 50s, 60s, early 70s, even the 80s guitars are pretty collectible. Before they were made in other countries, they were made in the USA. Really great quality, highly collectible, and condition's really good. Now, you're going to see some crazing in the lacquer. That's common, and that doesn't really detract from the value too much. What would detract from the value would be if there was chips all over it, if it had been bashed around, but this one's in really nice condition. Somebody took care of it, and it's just in this beautiful 1970s sort of, you know, it looks like Elvis's carpeting from Graceland on the inside of this thing. Actually, he had shag carpeting, but still, that corner, sort of like crushed velvety orange, that's definitely from the era. Really neat piece to get. Yeah, did not expect it to walk through the shop. The guy walked in with the guitar. He'd had it for many years, and now it's ours. But that's not the coolest thing I got in. That's pretty cool, but that's not the coolest thing. I had a lady walk in just earlier with a big pile of comic books. Let's go check that out. Now, when somebody walks up to the store, well, they drove up. They didn't walk up with all this. That'd be crazy. But they pulled up with a whole bunch of old comic books. They look to be, you know, quite vintage from the looks of these big little books. You know, those go back to the 40s. And if the comics are any indication of what's in these other boxes, this might be a decent collection. So we kind of bought it without going through the whole thing. I thought I'd go through together on camera today and see what we got. I think maybe we'll start with the big little books, lay these out on the counter and show you. The covers are so cool. The stories are neat. I'm gonna lay those guys out and show you what they are. You can definitely get an idea of the age. I'm saying 1940s. I know Roy Rogers was popular in the 40s and 50s, but if you open up the cover, you see it was gifted in 1943. So somebody during World War II was given this, issued in 42. So that was probably a nice distraction from what was going on in the world. And I think, they must have had cats or dogs. That's the bonus, I guess, of the books. I get a clump of cat hair. If I go balding one day, I can just glue it on the top of my head. I'm gonna lay all these out, hoping the rest of this Red Ryder book is in here somewhere. But you wanna make sure that the spines are intact like that. You get a little bit more money for them. More hair. If you have pets, make sure to put your stuff away somewhere safe. I've got allergies, so I'm probably gonna be sneezing by the end of this video. But let's get all these out here and see what there is. I like the cover on this one. Jim Hardy, ace reporter. Look, he's getting roughed up by somebody. Presumably, maybe they're fixing an automobile race. That's an old Indianapolis style car with a lady driving. And something's going on there. Look, they're not happy about it. Either that or else, yeah, maybe they're friends. And, you know, he's just saying, hey, guess what I found today? I found $20 in the street. I think it's yours. And he's like, what? I doubt it. But sometimes I keep these things for myself because the covers are so neat. I think that's why most people collect them too. Gangbusters. I'm gonna have to look some of these up because the prices do actually vary, just like regular comic books, based on what the theme is. Coach Bernie Bierman's Brick Barton and the Winning 11, an old football book, but it doesn't have the cover on it. So we'll put that over here in a doesn't have the cover pile, and maybe I can piece together enough. Look at that, Captain Midnight. And a lot of movies back in the 1980s were sort of based loosely off of these sort of books, like Indiana Jones, and they were all kind of pulp fiction-y sort of ideas that you might have seen a book like this. Okay, I'm gonna dig these out. Let's get these all out and see what we have to see here. Little Orphan Annie. Boy, there's a lot in this box. There's a lot more than I thought. There's also a lot more cat hair in here than I thought too. I'm gonna lay them out. We'll have a look at them. This is what was inside of the box. Now, you can see the allure here. Before comic books were really big, this is what kids got. This is what you wanted. You would read the book. There'd be nice little stories in here, some pictures. But look at the covers on these things. And as a result, they're still fairly collectible now. Red Rider. Look, Windy Wayne and his flying wing. That almost looks like a modern sort of jet like we have nowadays, other than the propellers on the back. Mandrake the Magician. But then you start seeing things like Mickey Mouse. And some that are a little bit more recognizable. There's Flash Gordon. So I'll have to look these up and kind of get an idea of what they go for. But look at the great artwork that they had on these. Really, really neat. Hopefully the comic books proved to be a good investment. So far, happy with my little batch of Big Little books though. We also got several reams, several big long boxes full of comic books too. So let's dig in and see what's inside. These definitely look like they've been sitting around for a while. They're pretty dusty, hopefully not full of cat hair. Okay, I've got this one backwards. Let's flip it around and see what we've got. Yeah, well, some early Batman, 12 cents. It's probably gonna be 1960s. Got 10-cent Superman. Challengers of the Unknown. Okay, yeah, there's some old ones in here. Action Comics. Army at War. The 10-cent and 12-cent definitely getting back into the right kind of age. Look at that. Mr. District Attorney. Law versus crime. Mr. District Attorney. In this issue, how Gangland's sinister disc jockey was trapped. Well, you think you wouldn't be able to cause that much trouble considering how small he was if he's the size of a record. That's neat. Some of these I've never even heard of before. Sensation Comics. Look at that. With Wonder Woman, number 69. That's got to be quite early for Wonder Woman. Let's see what year this is from. 1947. Okay, that's probably a good one. I don't know all my comics that well off by heart, but when you see a 1940s Wonder Woman comic, you know it's probably a good one. We'll check that one out. Leave that separate. But yeah, if every box has something kind of cool in it. Look, Adam the Cat. There's just piles and piles of... These are just the right kind of age too. They're all 10-cent comic books. Disney. Felix the Cat. Wow. Henry Dentist. What kid doesn't want to read a comic book about getting your teeth done? This is going to be fun. I might have to take these home to go through. Pretty excited about some of these already. See what's in the little box. It's not alive. Or is it? It's a little wind-up pig. I'm going to wind it up and see if it'll do a little walk for us here. There he goes. His nose and his ears wiggle. Looks like the tail turns. He stops for a minute, maybe takes a bite to eat. There's a date to the 1950s. Clockwork mechanism. Made in Japan. Kind of a cute little thing. Reminiscent of the old German tin wind-up toys that were made around the turn of the century and later into the 20s and 30s. Really, really neat piece. Looks to me in good shape too. There goes his nose. Okay, we'll set that guy aside. That wasn't the only kind of stuffed animal I got. We also got what I believe is a little stiff dog too. He's missing a little button in his ear, but definitely has that sort of feel. We'll look him up later on. More comics. More and more comics. Tom and Jerry, Spike and Tyke, Spencer Spook, Super Mouse. He's not Mighty Mouse, he's Super Mouse. And they've kind of shuffled down in the bottom here. Raccoon Kids. Boy, they were just trying all sorts of different themes for comic books there. Silly Symphonies, Sad Sack. Compliments of Woodward's. Well, how nice of Woodward's department store to give you a comic, but then they, smacked a big stamp right on the front of the cover, ruining its future value, but I guess kids wouldn't care about that. Spy Fighters. Boy, I'm in the S section. It would be nice to find some Spider-Man. Tales to Astonish. It's kind of fun. The Day the Martian Struck. I never knew he was so good. It's hard to believe he's acting. Meanwhile, they're actually, no, help, help. That's funny. That's cool, though. I like the old sci-fi space kind of comics. There's Tom and Jerry, 10¢. I am going to have to take these home and go through them, though, because there's an awful lot to go through. More than I can do here on the spot at the shop. And I'll have to probably go get a bunch of bags for these things, too, because they deserve to be bagged up for the most part. Look, it's Donald Duck on a motorcycle. Cute. Neato. I don't usually buy dolls, mainly because I don't know enough about them, but in my store, I don't get a lot of requests for them, which could be because I don't have them, but I don't sell a whole lot of dolls. But this one I did buy. It's a Barbie, but it's a Hudson's Bay Barbie. How Canadian is that? And look at her Dallas-sized hairdo she's got there. That is quite the frock Barbie, her little Bay shopping bag. I just thought that was really cool. It's still factory sealed, and I'm sure somebody would probably think that's neat. I was also a store manager for the Bay for a year. I used to run one of their stores, and that's just kind of a fun thing. So, Barbie makes a cut, and a whole bunch of comic books to take home. I've got to stop and get supplies. To get the supplies I need for these comics, I've come to another store in town called Variant Edition Comics. They are located in the West End. We're gonna go inside and see if they've got the supplies I need to make sure these comics stay in half decent condition. Let's go check it out. First, I gotta put on my tropical mask, and in we go. Ooh, it is a virtual mecca of comic books and graphic novels. I like their shelves. They're all curvy like. Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm good. I like your mask, by the way. You got the Spider-Man going on. So tell me a little bit about your business.
Oh my gosh. Well, we hit 5 years back in May. So we had a big milestone this year.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been trying to serve the West End for like reading and graphic novels especially.
Yeah, I can see that seems to be your focus is on, and my kids would love it in here because they are a big fan of graphic novels. And it looks like you've got probably one of the best varieties that I've seen in town. So what got you guys into collecting comics?
Well, for me, it was partly because my cousins were into it and I thought that was kind of cool. And another part of it was after school, I'd have to hang out at the pharmacy that my mom worked at. And it was stay quiet, and so I got to read the comics off the rack.
See, that works out pretty good.
Yeah.
They're a great distraction for kids new. Now, I was in here earlier, and you helped me figure out that I needed the Silver Age bags primarily. I probably need a few golden, but we got some silver here. And we've got some boards, too. So we are going to be all hooked up, ready to go. I think I'm going to do a couple hundred there. I think I don't know how many comics I bought. You said those big boards or the big boxes hold maybe a few hundred comics or so?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I've got, 600 or 900 comics in there. So I might have to come back for more supplies. But if you're in the Edmonton area, you got to come check out the shop and meet these guys right here. We'll be working behind the counter to sell you fun stuff. Thanks for having me by, guys.
Of course, anytime.
Really nice, folks. I am all decked out with all my gear. I've got to head home, though, because Melissa has dinner on the table and my mom is coming over for supper, so they're probably wondering where I am. And here I am out buying comic book supplies. I have been going through comics all night, and let me tell you, this project has made me a little bored, you might say, but I am having fun looking at some of the old comics, and there's some interesting backs on them too. Let me show you. Like this early 1950s Marvel family featuring Captain Marvel or Shazam. And you look at the back and what could you mail away for? Well, your very own talking parakeet. And what does it say? Free, free, free. That's right. Some kid back in 1953 mailed away and a bird came in the mail. What a surprise that would have been for your parents. You know, but who wouldn't trust that lady? She'll send you a parakeet. Mrs. Ruth Long and her bucket o' birds will send you a live parakeet in the mail. Oh, the things they did then. You could actually order a monkey in the mail too, I think, at the time. And not just sea monkey, like an actual monkey I saw an ad for once. Crazy times off the back of an old comic book. I had to take kind of a brief moment aside here to come to the shop because today's the day that the old tow truck's getting dropped off. So I've got to hustle because the guy is here. He's gonna be pulling around the alley pretty quick. I've got to move the old Ghostbusters car out of the way, and we're gonna try and put it back up on the patio where the other truck was, and hopefully that one will stay there for a while. There it is, the old Essex tow truck making its way into the yard. I'm gonna have to help the fellow out here, get it offloaded. And I brought the whole team of helpers with me today to help push the vehicle.
We did. No, try that one again.
I'm not trying it again just because you're tying your shoe.
My shoe was off.
That's okay, as long as your shoe's tied up by the time we need to push it off the trailer. And he's backing up, I've got to help him guide it. Hopefully you don't get stuck like Hans did that first time. The trailer doesn't have as much weight as what we're trying to do before. Plus, if the trailer gets stuck, you can pull it out with his actual truck. Okay, we're looking good. We got about 4 feet, 2 feet. Right there. Perfect. That's perfect. Look at that. Within an inch of smacking into the concrete. That's some expert driving there, Don. Here we go. There's the nice new Volkswagen, which I don't want to hit, right there. So I'm gonna keep my eye on the wheel. We've got the emergency brake on right now. Once he's got the straps off the back there, I'm gonna release this brake, pulling up that handle, and cross my fingers and hope that we make her. Okay, here she comes. Nope.
Push down on the clutch, maybe.
Okay.
Block.
Oh, we've got brakes.
You got brakes?
Yeah, I've got brakes.
Oh, now we gotta push, gang.
Well, here it is, and it's doing exactly what it's meant to do. Have kids climb around inside of it. It's just a fun little spot. Families can come get their picture taken with it, and I think it looks great in front of the shop. I'm gonna come around and get a picture of it from the front. There we go. I can see it's already a neighborhood attraction. What I like about it is that it's going to be sitting right in front of what will be an old-fashioned garage before long, so this will make perfect sense. It's just ever so cool, but it's kind of a mismatch of parts. It was an Essex car with a Chevrolet grille, with a Studebaker motor, and a tow truck conversion, so it'll never be original, not without a whole lot of work, but it's pretty neat, and it looks just perfect sitting there. Hey, Steven, is it Steven approved?
Yes, it is approved.
I have been going pretty much nonstop since yesterday on these books. There's about 950 comic books, of which probably most of them, 910 or so, are golden era comics. And golden era is what you consider 1940s or 50s. Silver is more 60s and 70s. Then there's modern age comics and so forth, but bronze and then modern. Golden and silver are kind of what I like finding. So finding some good early comic books like this in a bunch of boxes that have been stored away for a basement for a really long time is a lot of fun. But now I've got to price all this stuff, which is going to be the next challenge. You know, there are several websites you can go to online. You can look at eBay completed listings to see what they go for. So it's going to take me a long time because every single one is different to go through all these, but that's what we got to do. There was definitely quite a few gems in here. I like the old Roy Rogers comics. Oswald the Rabbit, that's pretty neat. There's Mighty Mouse, there's, you know, Tom Corbett Space Cadet. There's all sorts of neat books in here. Of course, there was some Superman and other stuff too. No real home runs, but when you multiply the value of each comic book times, you know, 800 or 900 books, that's pretty good. So thanks for watching today's episode, guys. I should have these comic books in my store before too long. There's just a whole pile of them with really cool covers. Every one is kind of neat in its own way.
And I'm looking forward to going through the rest of them. I'm still about 100 or 200 sleeves and boards short of getting them all done, but I made some good progress today. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. It was a fun adventure and look forward to you joining us on more. We'll see you all soon, and bye for now.